And from here, I can see the point of no return.
On the stage during the days of slavery. If this very change has been made about 500 years, this was the original change used on them during the days of slavery. See, whenever the white people capture slaves, so they put this very chain around their neck like this. So on this chain will be around slave for good 18 hours every day. You see, one person behind this, another person, so they put them on a single file down to the point of no return, which is across of the lagoon water. Yeah, you can just feel like every chain it, so you don't want to put it on. Can you try them?
Oh, okay. Sorry.
It's in the house. So after fixing these on your neck, this is fixed on the mouth. So the slaves, you see, we call it mouth glove. You see, they make hole up and down lips, and they force each other through this, and they will padlock it. So that's the guide the slave not to talk to one another or to hit while working at sugarcane plantation. Why these one here is fixed on the babies? They use this to tie 2 or 3 ends of babies together for babies not to be running about the farm or disturbing their parents when their parents busy working on sugarcane plantation. And this one here is fixed on the stubborn slave that refused to work for the white people. You see, the white people force their hand by force. They'll break this bone, they make it soft and force it up to their wrist and hand this slave up in a tall tree while they are like be suspended from the ground. That is punishment for stubborn slave that refused to work for the white people. And this is called a iron branded. You see, they put this stuff into a fire when it is very hot, became very hot time. So this is what they use in writing their names in their slave's body, so they can be able to differentiate them when they get to their final destination. During that time, we spend calories during the days of slavery. See, we only recognize calories within ourselves in Africa as money. For the white people, they couldn't recognize calories as money. So enough for them to buy slave, they practice trade by barter. So that was when they came with a bottle of gin, mirror, umbrella, cannon gun, ding gun in exchange of human being. You see, a bottle of gin like this then is in exchange of 10 human being. Why this small cannon gun here is in exchange of 40 human being. The bigger one outside there, each of it is in exchange of 100 human being. And what do we use cannon gun for?
Slave era, you know, the European come with some items, okay, like gunpowder, horses and co, and they were used in exchange for the slave then. So the kind of guns we are used to fight war is like the only day bomb. You understand? Mostly it will be placed or stand at the point, the junction that enter to your town. For like if the enemy is trying to penetrate, you know. So it's like this hole will be loaded with iron, stone, and gunpowder, and there'll be a very long stick. You know, they put in fire. So once they put the fire at the front, you know, it will go and explode, and probably, let's say, on that, look at that island over there, it will go and explode and landed on that island over there in the camp of the enemy. Yeah,
so they're using this one to exchange for how many people?
100 slaves, another 100, that's 200 slaves.
The bigger one outside there, each of it is in exchange of 100 human being. And what do we use cannon gun for? We use cannon gun to wage war. We used to fight ourselves in Africa to get more slaves for the white people. So over there is a slave drinking water bowl. Whenever the slave arrive from the farm, they fill the pots up with water. So they unlock the bottle from the slave man, and now the slave will bend down and drink from the pots like animal. So slowly make use of cup. They take water like dog and goats from the slave drinking water bowl. This is the grave of the chief then who controlled BADAGRY during the days of slavery. This man buried here was nicknamed Mobi by the white men. Because Kola is called in Yoruba. Whenever those white people come around, the man always spoke to them Yoruba. He couldn't speak in English. He spoke to them Yoruba like this, Emu Obije. And Mobije means take kola nut and eat. But since the white people couldn't pronounce the man name, the white people started calling the man Chief Mobi, and their family adopted that name Mobi up to date. And this is the traditional son of 4 feet then. Whenever the chief is going out, one of his daughters hold it. Whoever here they know the chief is on his way. If men should meet, he's on his way. Men prostrate, women kneel down. That shows sign of respect to the chief then. And over there is a royal musical instrument found in the royal family. Whenever the chief or the king of BADAGRY have any ceremony, women of the town play it, singing, dancing, making a little sound with the tone of the musical instrument. Some women hold it. While some will hold this string, pulling it, musical instruments, and these are called ajogon in our dialect, which is a gun. So here is the statue showing stubborn castrated slave begging for forgiveness. You see, during the days of slavery, they do castrate male slaves. They castrate the male slave, the one that work as domestic slave. The one that work at all with them, they will castrate them in order not to have sexual intercourse with their wives and their daughters at home. And this is how slavery was stopped in different parts of the world. Slavery stopped in British West Indies in 1833, Australia 1861, United States 1863, Brazil 1888, Africa 1870, BADAGRY in 1886, after slavery lasted for 400 years before it was abolished.
Now, in BADAGRY, the difference between this compound and other sites that we have is that it is a national monument. But unfortunately, as we move around, you will see what a national monument looks like. This place needs help. But you see, why I'm saying this is because of the importance of this compound. It was established in the 1840s. Look at the two entrance doors. These two doors have been here since when this compound was established in 1840. And at the entrance, I don't know if you notice a green signboard, and on it they wrote National Monument. It was the National Commission for Museums and Monuments that erected that green signboard outside. And there have been an extensive research work on this compound of the compound, who is Seriki Williams Abbas. Seriki Abbas was a slave, but the irony was that he was a slave who also became a slave trader. He was born originally at a town in Yoruba land called Joga Orile. Joga Orile is in today's Ogun State, not far from Abeokuta and Ilaro. That was where he was born until he was captured by the Dahomeans at the age of 6 years old. The country we call Benin Republic today used to be known as Dahomey. Dahomey was changed to Benin Republic in 1975. And when this man was taken as a child to Dahomey, his first master was an Islamic scholar and a slave trader by the name of Abbas. That was why they call him Abbas. Abbas sold him to an European by the name of William. That's why they call him Williams Abbas. A slave don't have a name. They bear their master's name or the name their master gave to them. It was in Brazil. His second master, called William, there he realized there was something unusual about him. Instead of selling him, he took him to his house and made him a domestic slave. Domestic slave work in the master's house, plantation or farm slaves work on the farm or on the plantation. The man treated him well. He taught him how to write. He taught him how to read. I made a copy of one of his handwriting inside for people to know what his handwriting looks like and to know that he could actually read and write. Through Mr. Williams and the friends of Mr. Williams in Brazil, this man learned how to speak English, Dutch, Portuguese, and Spanish, which was unusual for a slave. When he became a young man, Mr. Williams met him and said, I want to give you your freedom, but I want to have an agreement with you. You work for me. And he answered his master and said, Sir, I'm your slave. Whatever you want me to do, I'll do for you. So whenever Mr. Williams, the slave trader in Brazil, would go to do his business, which was slave trading, he usually takes him along. Consciously, he was teaching him his trade, because it got to a time that he decided that instead of coming back to West Africa, he needed someone to represent him here. And he sent this man back to West Africa. And when he came back, he settled down at the colony of Lagos, where we call Lagos Island today. As I'm talking to you, this man still have descendants in Lagos Island. Some of them bear Williams as their family name, some bear Seriki, some bear Abbas, and some of them bear Banire.
Is it related to the Moise Banire?
Oh my God. Moise Banire is a descendant of Seriki Abbas. In fact, in BADAGRY, the present Seriki of BADAGRY is called Razak Banire, the elder brother of Moise Banire.
Okay.
So Moise Banire is also for this compound.
So the Williams you're talking about, is this the same Williams, Future Williams? No.
Williams is broad.
Broad, okay.
Lots of people who return because it's one of the most popular European names that we have. There are other Williams in Lagos Island. Okay. So in Lagos Island, he was doing the business, but the British were disturbing the European slave traders and the African slave traders. It was one of the reasons why this man left Lagos Island to come and settle down here. For a very long time in the British Empire, they don't want people to be doing that business in their colonies. They don't want it. So when Seriki Abbas came to settle down here, it was the Brazilians who built this compound for him. That was why they call this place Brazilian barraco. A barraco means a slave cell. The origin of that word barraco is Spanish. In Spain, it's called barasa. In some places, barracón. But the English call it barracón. It means, originally in Spain, it means a house built of wood for poor people. And you know, the old barracons in the hinterland were actually built of wood. So they borrowed the Spanish word, and today it is synonymous to the slave trade. An umbrella in exchange for 40 human beings. The value of a bottle of alcohol was 10 slaves. You see the real bottle inside when we get inside. The big cannon gun was used in exchange for 100 slaves, the small one for 40 slaves. The value of a den gun was also 40 slaves. The value of a ceramic bowl, we call it breakable plates in Nigeria and Ghana. The value of a plate was 10. There are 5 of such plates inside. What's your name, sir?
Celestine.
And that time, if Celestine owns the European space, he wouldn't like to eat in the house. He would like to eat outside. Do you know why? So that everybody passing by could see that he was eating from that type of a plate. Okay, that type of plate. And that makes him like he's the man. Maybe they may give him a chieftaincy tied to that time. Anyway, we're going inside now to see some other things. But as we walk around the compound, I want you to take notice of the windows. Okay. The windows we have in the compound now were not there originally. When we get inside the slave cell, you see what the windows look like originally.
There are many rooms?
There are 40 rooms in this compound, and the irony is that people live in the compound. For someone that is spiritual, you know that it is wrong to stay in a place like this. And for the preservation of the heritage, it is wrong for people to stay in a place like this. But it was the former president of Nigeria called Olusegun Obasanjo. He was the one who commissioned these 2 slave cells as a museum. There are some antiques you will see inside that we dug out from this compound. He commissioned it as a museum for people like you to have an idea of what a slave cell looked like. And this 2 slave cell, this museum, is the annex of National Museum Onikan in Lagos.
Oh. The museum you went to. The museum you went to.
Come in, ma'am. All the rooms in this compound, looks like this. A room have 2 rooms. But in the beginning, when they built this compound, the idea of the first room where we are standing was not to keep slaves. It was referred to as the inspection room. When the Europeans come to buy or to select the slaves, they stay in the first room. And the person in charge of the barrack room was called the overseer. The overseer was the one that would go into the inner room and bring the slaves here. Here they inspect the eyes, the dentition. They eat them in the stomach to be sure they are strong enough to work on the plantation. But in the middle of the 19th century, because there are so many of them around, they were no more inspecting them here, they were inspecting them in the compound. So they kept 40 here, another 40 in the inner room that we are visiting later. And you begin to wonder, like school children do when they come, they begin to imagine 40 human beings here. Some of them will say, they will die. And I will reply them by saying, of course, a lot of them die. They urinate on themselves, they excrete on themselves. When the women have their menstrual cycle, they do it on themselves. It was a way of separating the chaff from the wheat. It was a way of separating the weak from the strong. No weak or sickly slave survived the Middle Passage. The Middle Passage is the journey from West Africa to the Americas. No weak or sickly slave survived. Now we talked about the umbrella. I want you to try and lift it up from here.
Okay.
The reason why I asked you to lift it up was for you to know how heavy it is. And yet, that time, a slave will have to carry this over the head of the king or chief for as long as he's outside. Now, when Sir William Sabas came and he settled down here, the British made him the paramount ruler. But before he became the paramount ruler, they have penciled him out. He was very smart. I told you he could read, he could write. You can see what his handwriting looks like. In the year 1895, this was him when the British made him the ruler, and the umbrella I'm holding was the same umbrella carried over his head. That picture was taken in 1895. We don't have record of when the umbrella was manufactured. Okay, but if we if we judge the age of the umbrella, okay, from when this picture was taken, 1895 to 2017, is 124 years. But we know the umbrella is older than that, but we don't have record of when it was manufactured. This is a man called Celestine William Sabas. When his father and mother gave birth to him, his real name was Ifaremi Lekun. His father's name was Fagbemi, but a slave don't have a name. Now, I don't know if you remember, in the first room, there was a portrait of Celestine William Sabas when he became the owner of BADAGRY. That somebody was carrying an umbrella over his head. It was, now you can see, that was him in this black and white picture. The clothes he was putting on in this black and white picture is the same clothes you are looking at. Okay, 1895, he wore this clothes. 2017, that's 124 years. So this cloth is 124 years. Governor McGregor, the governor of the colony of Lagos, gave him this staff of office that time. Recognizing him, you can hold on, recognizing him as the paramount ruler of the whole town that time. They cover it from the ground floor. What that's it there? So the cemented part, this ring was not there that time. Okay. And when you look inside the well, look at the edges. Take notice of the bond bricks. Those bricks were placed there by the slaves. His Brazilian friend, they buried him here with the Muslim community and the family. And this is actually called a mausoleum.
Yeah, mausoleum, yeah.
So we'll go inside and go through it.
Like a tomb.
Yes, or a sepulchre. A mausoleum built for him or her that time around here shows how important or prominent he must have been that time. Celestine William Sabas had just 128 wives. How many do you have now, sir?
I'm single.
Eh?
Yes.
You don't have any now.
128 wives.
I didn't say 120, I said 128 wives. And it won't be like say kebabs. I know you're a good Christian.
Anyway, these are journey to BADAGRY. We're still going to Port of No Return, right?
Okay.
Port of No Return.
Point
of no return.
No,
I need to understand.
we call it point of no return. But for you guys,
It could be Port of No Return too.
no, for you
Ours
guys.
is point of return. You must return.
Yeah, boys. Okay, that's what I
Hope
want
won't
to
see
say.
the Brazilian ship there.
The Brazilian ship. We'll burn it now. Yeah. You will return.
We are heading to Point of No Return.
Oh,
You can see. We've been told it's going to take us about 3 minutes on water to get to the other point. Because it's been a journey. BADAGRY, Point of No Return, here will come. Point of No Return. The speedboat. Just arrived in Chelsea, Port of No Return. Let the journey begin. I've been told I'm supposed to come here with an handkerchief because I'm supposed to cry. I don't know how true that is, but I'm certainly going to check that out. I think I'm a man, I won't cry. Yeah, I won't cry.
Came down from the boat, but then with a paddle boat, so there will be chains on their necks with the ankle shackles. So anytime the weather is very hot, so imagine the chain rubbing the flesh. And this place then is just a thick forest whereby white animals are, but now there is no more slavery, so there is no more white animals. So the well we are, it's called attenuation well, but some people call it memory lost well. So this is the water that will fetch out for the slave to drink. After drinking it, they will lose their senses, not for like just for 3 months before getting to their destination. because on board there might be like 300 slaves to 400. So with their population, they will try to rebuild back. So the white people now came back to meet our African chief that this is what is going on. So in collaboration with the African chief, they now added sham inside the water, black magic, to give out to the slaves to drink. After drinking it, they will now lose their senses, not for like just for 3 months.
That means the white actually believe in black magic.
Kind of.
The roots of history.
This is the point of no return, where they used to take the slaves through the boats and the ship.
This stone, was it?
No, just a direction.
I know, but this stone, is it recent or then?
It's recent.
Okay.
Water.
So those
No,
two
it's
arc
very
are
salty,
those
so-
two arc are as old as. Okay, it used to be metal, not.
Normal cement. After they abolished the slave trade.
Okay.
So these two are.
Oh,
So it's kind of a door or what?
that's the place they
the symbol
follow.
of point of return. Because when you go through the next two acts, that's the point you are going.
Okay.
Maybe Brazil, Cuba, West Indies.
Yes,
Huh?
it's Canton, yes.
Yeah, apparently, we are told this is the shop when they were about to transport slaves from Nigeria. On the other side, there is paddle boat from here to where the ship is. Because this is the point of no return. When you pass through this arch, we believe that you we are told this is the shop when they were about to transport slaves from Nigeria. On the other side, there is paddle boat from here to where the ship is. Because this is the point of no return. When you pass through this arch, we believe that you
This is where they used to bring the slaves. The ship will be waiting for them at the other side because the ship can't cross closer because of the ship. So there will be a small paddle boat to take the slave down to where the ship is. Maybe anytime the wave is much on the water, to balance the ship, they will have to come up inside the water. So as we are facing down, we are facing the northern side of America. So if you wish to go, you are free. But the only obstacle you're facing is the ship.